joining me today on episode 4 of Intentionally with Mojisola Obazuaye, where we chat with immigrants to tell their success story, which includes all the good bits, the not so good bits, just to inspire, motivate other immigrants that it is possible to have a successful career or businesses in the diaspora. So today I have with me my dear friend, Abby Williams. Abby, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, MG.
Thank you so much again, Abby. See, I gotten to know Abby very, very well. Abby first reached out to me in 2019. It was about the time when redundancy was announced in our previous organization. She was working as a customer service advisor at the time. Before Abby moved to the UK, she was also working in the customer service space in one of the top banks in Nigeria at the time. But Abby wanted more, and when that redundancy was announced, it was a good time for Abby to make the move, right? Keep watching this video to learn more from Abby, a journey from moving from Lagos, Nigeria to the UK and her journey in the UK up till now. She's doing amazing, and I couldn't wait to bring her on the show. Again, thank you so much, Abby, for joining us. If you don't mind, let's jump into the conversation by telling me a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, MJ. And as I said earlier, it's a big pleasure to be here on air with you and on the your chats intentional. So I really take it as a big opportunity. Going straight to your question about my journey, I'll go right back from Nigeria, where I previously was working as a customer service advisor. And then I progressed into wanting more. And then I came here to the UK to study human resource management to get my degree there. And afterwards, I then got married. As life progressed, I got married. Then I graduated and I got the job as a customer service here in United Kingdom, where I previously worked with my organization. I think at that time it was convenient for me because I was nursing my children, and then I was trying to look for work-life balance. So at that time I was then working evening shifts so that I could balance still having to be on my career journey, not abandoning it. Just something that I lost long for. So I was there getting my experience, and it will happen, life will happen again, redundancy came up. And that was how I reached out to MJ. But just kudos goes to my husband, because he was the first person that was on Instagram following MJ, and because he knew my story and he knew what I wanted, as I had previously been trying for other roles when I heard about the redundancy, and I was like panicking. I'm like, what's gonna happen now? Um, regarding job. So he was the one on Instagram who said, you know what, reach out to this person. I've tried to follow. I followed her. I've listened to her. I've watched her story. You also follow her and see if you think you're comfortable reaching out to her. And then I jumped into YouTube, watching, listening to all her videos, following her, trying to like have this hidden mentor that I really didn't know, but just trying to understand who MJ is. Is it somebody that is approachable that I can reach out to? And that was how I reached out to MJ, saying, this is my story, this is where I've been, this is where I'm going, this is my situation. How can you help me? And just a point to note that as part of the journey, I had previously had this series of interview that was not successful, and we know how they write the emails to you. Look so just so nice and juicy, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be sorry. Unfortunately, you have not been successful. So that was my journey, and then I transitioned into from customer service into recruitment HR role, where I'm currently working now. And through the help of MJ, I was able to move into the stage.
Yeah, I'm really, one thing that stood out to me there, Abby, is your husband finding me first and then he introduced you to me, and then you went on to follow, to track and trace, to see, do you know what, can I actually work with this person? And I'm glad that you reached out. Abby, when I first shared your story online, one of the things I wrote there is you're one of the most um, inspiring people I've ever seen. You're very focused, you're very dedicated, you're committed. I remember that some of our coaching calls was at 4:30 a.m. UK time. And
Yes.
Abby showed up. Every time we arranged the call, Abby showed up. No matter what's going on, Abby always made it time to be there. Abby, what was the driver for the change? What inspired the change? What motivated the change? Why did you want the change?
I think I will start by saying you have to have the inner hunger. So it's
Mm,
just like a baby that is hungry. If you're not hungry, you can feed the baby and the baby will just spit it out and waste the food and would not bother going for that
mm,
food. But if you're internally hungry, you will strive, you will go for what you want. And so I would say it was my own determination, it was my own hunger, it was my passion of what I wanted in my part of career life. And for every lady, for every person out there, I would say you should have your own vision, have your dream. And in addition to that, I think one of my drive was also when I had to follow MJ with the vision board. This drives down to my passion of what I really wanted. I wanted to do HR, and I would say I'm thankful to God that I had to go through the stage of going through customer service first, because I still kept telling my husband and my friends that if I didn't have that background of customer service, I didn't know how I would have thrived in this admin based heavy, HR role stroke recruitment, because I would say the body of being there is having this strong customer service, having strong communication skills, which I was able to build over time while working as a customer service. So one of the things that helped me was my passion, was my dream, was my what I could see in front of me, and I didn't lose sight of it. So I was always putting my gaze on, this is what I want, this is what I want to achieve. And that was what drove me to say, you know what, I'm taking another step beyond just doing it myself. I'm reaching out to someone, a coach or someone that can help me in this career journey. And one of the things that even stood out for me was because that made it very interesting for me was because MJ had like my storyline. She was for customer service. I'm like, bang, this is what I wanted. So it was something I'm like, you know what, this is someone that's walked my path. So why wouldn't I want to reach out to this person to help me, to hold my hand and help me through this journey? So it was even more interesting for me, because maybe if you're an accountant or maybe a lawyer, I would have said, oh, this person really understand my journey, or would this person really understand what I'm my passion or where I'm coming from? So it made it more interesting for me, because MJ walked my path, and then so just line up into my own dreams, my own aspirations, my own vision of where I wanted to go or where I wanted to be. So it was easy for me to reach out to MJ.
Yeah, that's great to know. And some of the things you said actually is also playing back in my head. Some of them I actually do not remember. I didn't plan to mention here that you attended a vision board that I created at the time in 2020. I know that now I remember that you attended that vision board class. And then, like you said, I came from that customer service background. And then I was able to transition into human resources. So Abby and I were sort of a perfect match to work together. And not only that, I'll repeat this again. Abby, you were very driven. You had the drive, you had the hunger, you had the zeal. There was no doubt in my mind that you would succeed. So let's touch on landing the very first job in HR. Like you said, the customer service experience played a pivotal role in helping you to thrive in your initial job, which was admin based, very admin based actually. So tell me, what was it like working in that very first human resources role? It was more junior, it was more admin heavy. What was it like? What did you do? How did you manage to work effectively on that role?
Okay, I would also like to add to that question before I started that no one should be afraid to launch into whatever passion you have or whatever dream you have. I would like to say that I never worked in recruitment or HR before. Customer service was always my background. And that, I think that was where the fear was of how am I going to cope in this new role? How am I going to pass this interview? Would I be considered? Would I be shortlisted? Will I ever have the opportunity of being put forward?
Mm.
But as I said, my dream, my hunger drove me to say, you know what, Abby, you can do this. Just give it your best shot. And one of the key things that helped me, and I would say, from where I was rusty to where I am now, was that I would say, for example, I didn't know how I could say I had transferable skills that I could come from customer service into HR. MJ was able to split my CVs into dissect it and say, Abby, you've got this, you've got that, you've done this in school, you've got this, just tell your story. And I remember MJ kept saying, tell your story, you own your truth, tell your story. And that kept ringing in my head. Like, yes, I own my story. She would tell me, take a mirror, sit in front of a mirror, talk to yourself. And so I think that kept building the confidence in me that, yes, I've done this. And when I was able to tailor the job description and person specification, I realized that if you look into the nitty gritty of what they were requesting for, they were basically the customer service I actually had done. In my head, before I approached MJ, I was thinking, oh, serious HR things will be, we will look into to say you will qualified for this role. But having sat down to able to study the job description, study the person specification, and look into myself, into what is driving me, what is the enthusiasm about me going into HR? Why do I want HR? All those things helped me to this down and to be able to tell my story. I remember when I first of all went into the company I wanted to work with, I felt woefully in the interview because I didn't know how to tell my story. I knew I did customer service and I was going for a customer service role, and I still failed. And I'm like thinking, why did I have to fail this when I have all the skills required to do this? And then when the HR role came through, I thought to myself, I need someone to sit me down and tell me how this is being done appropriately. Because if I cannot get into customer service, then how do I want to transition into recruitment or HR? So I said, as I said, the basic things were for me to understand what I was going into. How do I tell my story? How do I make it real? And as I said, I'll keep talking about my story because it was what I did while working. It made it easy, as I said, 100% very easy for me to tell my story to the panel. And I think the only thing they could also that they could relate to regarding HR was to say, tell us about your course in school. And I'm like, okay, easy peasy. I will tell you what I've done: employment law, employee relations, and because that was the only thing that could tie me to HR. Every other thing, as I said, was my customer service background. So I had to talk to them about while I was in school, some of the dissertation I did, and just written to understand, okay, this girl really studied this course and she's really passionate about coming into this HR. So I then started as an HR consultant. I started as an HR assistant where I started to learn. And one of the key things I tell myself is that always come low. Don't come too don't be too proud. Always humble yourself. I think that was one of the key things that helped me. That doesn't mean you should have low self esteem, but it's just a way you can draw things from people. That's the way you can learn from people. When you come thinking that you know it all, then they'll just tell you you can deal with yourself. But I think one of the humble spirit that God helped me was to be able to calm down and then learn from them, because even colleagues came in 6 months after and they didn't believe that I had not been in the organization for like 5 months. I went into the company's pedia, when you go like a documentary. I went online to the internal company's page, studied. I did some body with some of my colleagues where I just learned, and I'll ask questions. I had my notepad where I jot things down. As I said, because I was new into this line, I was trying to understand, what is this all about? How do you guys work here? What is your policy? How do you manage to do the work you do here? So one of the key things was that I was humble enough to learn from my colleagues. I was humble enough to learn on my own by myself. And also a key point to note there is that when I joined the company, it was during COVID, so I had to work from home. So I didn't even really have the opportunity of sitting down, one on one with people. I had to learn via Teams. So I was passionate, like Abby, I want to learn this thing. I want to grow in this field. I want to be good. I want to be great. I want to stand out. So I had to I'm going down from the very, very, very bottom. I want to sponge as much information I can from my colleagues. And I think that was one of the stepping stones that helped me thrive.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Abby. Everything you said is just the perfect definition that I gave when I was describing you, sharing that you're becoming life. That hunger was there. You had the drive. You showed humility. A lot of people tend to look at humility in the workplace as weakness. But sincerely, especially when you're learning, you must be humble to learn. Whether you're older, you're younger, you must put your head down to learn. This is one mistake a lot of people will make. When they join an organization, their first step is, I want to book annual leave. They don't take the time to learn as much as they need to succeed on the job. They go away on annual leave, then they come back to zero, right? You searched on the company portal, the internal encyclopedia. You used all the resources available to you to learn, learn, learn. And the funny thing is, Abby, you started from the very bottom, just like me. You started from the very bottom. I started out assisting and shadowing our more senior HR professionals. I would arrive early when we're having interviews for night customer service crew. I would leave later so I can make sure to learn something. I will report timely. All these things are things you need to succeed when changing career path, whether in human resources or any other area. Abby, I want you to share with me. Your first role was a temporary one for about 4 months. So I remember, I think it was about November 2019 to the middle of COVID when March 2020. What was it like being in a temporary role first before now moving into a role that gave you the break you were looking for? How did that make you feel? Did you feel like you've achieved something? Did it make you panic that, do you know what, 4 months is almost here? If I lose my job, what will happen? Tell me about that feeling of being in a temporary role first.
I'll say that one of the first thing I did was to be in close relationship with my managers. I made sure that I avail myself of every information I needed to transition into being a temporary staff, into
Mm,
being a permanent staff. So I wasn't just sitting there saying, you know what, if when it's finished, then it's finished. Although I was looking at into other companies, but I was passionate, I was hardworking. I was able to prove myself to them to say, you know what, if I needed to transition into being a permanent, these are the values I'll be able to bring. These are the skills I'll be able to provide to
mm,
into being one of your staff. So I was at their face. I was there being dedicated. I was there able to learn. I was there picking up roles. You know, when they assign things to me, I'm like, oh, I'm too afraid. I can't do this. I'm just new into the company. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So I took up new assignment that I knew, Abby, you've taken this thing. How do you want to go about it? So one of the key things I did was to stay knowledgeable, to be in their face, proving myself that I'm a dedicated and hardworking person. When you're in your face of your manager, proving yourself. This is not eye service, but this is just being you who you are, and they can
mm,
see the work for themselves. They can see the result of what you're doing. It impresses something in their heart to say, you know what? Why do we want to go for somebody out there when we know that this person can actually deliver? And we can know how in the organization I work with is a very fast paced place where they need someone that is dedicated, someone that's got the enthusiasm to do the work and be committed. So one of the key things I would say I did was to ask questions, ask
mm,
information. So when is this role going to terminate? Do I have any chance of being retained? Do I have any chance of being making my role being permanent? I don't want to be surprised and say, oh, 4 months is here already and I have to go. Then what's the next step? So I was being proactive. I was asking myself questions. I reached out to MJ. I'm still looking out in other organizations if this doesn't work, but I'm putting my best in this basket I've got at the moment, giving my best shot into making sure I impress my managers, I do all I have to do to make sure that they can see that this is someone that is hardworking and is able to bring their best to the table. So I think that was a key thing that was very evident to everyone, among even my colleagues, my friend, my managers. I was just there like a shining light. Like, who is this girl that's just coming to the organization? Even though she's an assistant, but she's just there making things happen, picking up figures, doing all the things she has to do, achieving all our objectives. And I was just there trying to see, what do I need to do to just stand out. I think that was one of the key things that helped me to moving from a temporary role into a permanent role.
I know, Abby, you're such a superstar. The things you're saying is just what everyone needs to succeed, whether a temporary role or permanent, rather than begin to worry that, oh, this is a temporary role. When it finishes, this is the end. You stayed very close to your managers. You gain visibility, yeah? And then advocacy. You were advocating for yourself. You were asking the right questions, asking, when this contract finishes, are you going to advertise externally, or am I eligible to apply for this role? You were doing the right thing. You took on additional responsibilities, which is very important. You took on something new, something you've never tried before, something you've never done before. You showed a lot of enthusiasm. It's not just showing up and just doing the bare minimum, or just doing, oh, this is my job, this is what I'm going to do. You went above and beyond for yourself, for your organization, to also demonstrate what you can do. You're such a superstar, and you embodied that popular saying, Naija no the carry last, which means that, yes, I'm here for the very first time. I don't have a lot of experience in this space, but I'm going to show you. Then you became someone everyone knew in that space. They were like, who is this person? She's only here very newly, and she's doing all this amazing work, right? Abby, coming from that space and transitioning into your permanent position, which also kind of was about the next level to the role you held at the time, from HR assistant, doing all the work and moving into that consultancy role, right? For the sake of privacy of my guests, I do not mention their organization, but just to mention, Abby works in the public sector, and she's moved from one level into another, earning more money. Tell me, what was the experience like for you, Abby, moving from that temporary HR assistant role into a more senior role and then getting promotion afterwards? Tell me a little bit about that. What did you do? How did you win everyone over? How did you interview? And how did you gain that promotion after a very, very short period of time, earning more money, thriving in your job, and just doing exceptionally well?
Okay, I would say one of the things that ignited me to say, I'll be no way, staying in this assistant role was when I had someone else come in, and my manager was like, "Oh, Abby, do you mind training this person?" So, just to understand, let's explain. This is someone that's supposed to be my senior, and I had to train her to understand the role. I'm
Oh,
like, really? Okay. So I have to train you to be my boss, and then I have to then work under you while still, continuing the role. So I said to myself, no way, you have to step up your game. You have to prove that you can do this. If I can teach someone, if I can train someone, then definitely there's something in me that can help me stay on in this path and then shine and then thrive. And then I told my manager, then he was going for a leave. I said, I would like to apply for this role. And he smiled and, jokingly, like, go for it, thinking, okay, just try your best. And then when I come back, and by the time my manager came back from his leave, I had done the interview by his other senior managers or his other colleague, and I'd been successful and I'd been promoted to the new role. He came back and said, Abby, he couldn't believe it because he started joking like, what, just go for it. And then, when we come back, we come and discuss, like, try and look and see what it entails to work in that part. And he then said something else like, oh, you're going to know what you're going in for. You don't know what you're going in for. Like, this is going to be a big role for you. Are you really sure? And I just smiled and I'm like, yeah, I can do it. Because he was like, this meeting, you just come into the company and you want to take up this role? And I just smiled like, yeah, I know I can do it. And then I knew, yeah, I've taken this big project on myself, this new role for myself. And I sat down. I reached out to MJ then again, saying, MJ, I'm now in a new role where I had to delegate, and I didn't know how to do that because I was always pointing in and doing things myself. And MJ said, yes, you have to learn how to do this, because I was always reaching out to, like, this is my new step. This is what I have to do now. How do I delegate? How do I make sure people is not messing up what I have to do? And then MJ said, you have to learn to use the word. You're supporting them. You're not doing their job for them. You're there to see and also manage that. That is the line where you have to then manage people. So for myself, it was me still being driven. I knew that I had the skills, I knew I had the knowledge, and I also knew I had the ability. These three things were the key things for competency for you to get into a new role. You had to have your competencies. It's not about you being just educated, it's not about you just being knowledgeable. You have to have these key things to prove yourself, because somebody else might have done something before, but probably done it wrong. But if you have a story where you can prove to say, I've done this and I've done it well and have a result to show for it, then that helped me to step up the game. That helped me to tell my story while preparing for my interview, because I was able to step into shoes where I had to start presenting. Even though my first presentation, I was like, what have I just done to myself? And I had to go research again to say, how do I present? How do I present to board of stakeholders? How do I make my slides? How do I do things? So I had to do my own work of, Abby, you've taken up a new role. You have to then sit up and see how you can stand out again, because now expectation is there to say, oh, you've taken this role. Let's see how you perform. So I still continue doing my hard work. I had people I did follow on, I read their books. I followed them on Instagram. Someone like MJ. I just kept reading, kept studying, kept seeing how I could move on to the next stage. I had times where I'll probably speak to MJ and she'll tell me about Abby. I'm still also applying for new roles. This is what I'm doing also. I also have dentists. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not in the same shoes then. I'm not by myself. So I'm talking, I'm speaking to someone. I'm not in my shell. I'm reaching out to someone, and I'm sure that will lead me and will pull my hands and will pull me, are help me along my journey basically. But as I said, the key things were telling my story, because that really helped me in my interview. Because I remember one of the managers saying, Abby, I don't even have anything to say now, because I think I just have to offer you the role, because with all the evidence you've given me, why wouldn't I offer you the role? And I smiled in the interview, because he said, Abby, you've just beat it, you just hands down, because you've given us every evidence for every questions we've asked you. And so it would be so unfair not to just offer you. And right there, she said, you've been offered the role, we'll tell HR, and then we don't. And right then it was sealed. I didn't even have to wait for, like response, when you have to like panic, oh, 2 days, 3 days. I had the response right there. And I said the key thing there was telling my story. Key thing there was being confident. And most of the examples I used was what I was doing at work. I didn't have to form anything. I didn't have to think about, oh, what do I tell them? Or how do I make the story look good? For example, using the STAR approach, one of the key things MJ taught me was using the STAR approach. Also, use my story to we're applying the STAR approach. So I just managed to put everything in perspective and make them flow and make my story so relatable that they just wanted to keep hearing that exactly what you're doing is what you've told us. So there was truth in it, there was fact in it. So that just impressed them and say, you know what, we give you the role. We don't have a choice. Just take this and let's start the journey together.
Yeah, I like it, Abby. And like I said before, experience don't fall from heaven. And that's the truth. Everything you've said is all about you. There are things you've done previously. From customer service, you use the experience to break into HR. And on that junior role, you manage to gain enough experience to go to the next level on your career. It goes back to knowing how to tell your story. And this is the work Abby and I did when we got on a call on lunch breaks, when we got on the call 4:30 a.m. We only focused on telling Abby's story because it's your story. You just need to know how to tell the story. And one of the things we also did, we did a lot of writing. So we use the magic of putting our thoughts down first and then learning what those things are and then telling that story intentionally on the job interview. So I wasn't actually surprised, Abby, that you will move from a temporary role into a permanent role in a short period of time. You had a lot of drive, you had the vision, and you were so hungry to succeed. And this is the formula that I used on my own journey as well, that I've used so far and I'm still using. Abby, let's talk about still finding the right opportunity, still chasing dreams. Last week, for some reason, you reached out to me to say, MJ, I think I'm ready for the next step. I came back to you. What did I say? I said, Abby, I'm actually also interviewing. So it means that we are both very driven. We're hungry. We're still looking for more. As a and come to think of it, this month made it the 5th year of me starting my HR career officially. This month, September. I first had a teaser of human resources in 2013, shortly after I was made redundant, where I worked as an HR assistant. That experience I brought into the future up to now, Abby. So tell me, what would you say to someone who is looking to break into human resources? Before you jump into that, I made a video a while ago. It's right here on my YouTube channel. The skills you need to transition from customer service to human resources. I have done it. Abby has done it. So what skills, if you want to check out that video, please do check it out. It's on my channel, and do watch this video from start to finish because Abby is sharing a lot of nuggets. So Abby, what skills would you say someone must have to break into human resources working in customer service? Because personally, I've had a lot of people reach out to me to say, I'm working in customer service. I want to move into another role. We have someone who moved from customer service to customer success. I've been moved from customer service to human resources. So tell me, what skills would you recommend that people strengthen? What things do they need to know to break into any other field, in this case, HR?
Okay, I'll say one of the very first skill is the communication skills. I remember MJ saying, Abby, slow down. Abby, slow down. They need to listen to you, the pace. She kept emphasizing on the pace. Abby, slow down. I remember very well. And she's like, Abby, I can hear you. We're Nigeria to Nigeria, but you have to slow down so that everyone can understand what you're saying because you've got all it takes, but you just need to create the pace and then help yourself so that everyone can help and can understand you. I'll also say my customer service background really, really helped me. So I'll give an example. When I initially started, my emails were no. But I was trained my emails in how to construct my emails, how to write to customers, how to write to stakeholders. Having doing it over and over again helped me to master my skills in writing. Even though I still did my dissertation, but it didn't put me in the workplace where I had to write officially to people. So having worked there helped me to strengthen how to write excellently, how to write, concisely, just to making sure that they're understanding what you're saying, you're communicating, you're not just writing a whole script and they're thinking what exactly. You're able to respond to a query effectively and they can understand you efficiently. Another thing was communications in terms of telephone calls. Because I was a customer service, it helped strengthen me. It helped build my confidence. It helped me to be able to relate and express myself clearly and concisely, and to build a good pace. As you understand, we have our own accent depending on your color and everything. For myself, I was able to strengthen this because I did it over and over again. So he helped me to build a confidence of, oh, being afraid of speaking to somebody, or how do I help with a query. And because of my communication skills, even if I didn't have an answer to that, but because I knew how to communicate, I knew how to probably pause and probably, for example, say, can I just put you on hold and try and get this query resolved for you and try and get it to the right person. Communication skills is super. I cannot emphasize it. Writing skills, verbal communication is pretty much important. And this is not about you trying to get accent. As I said to people, I don't try to build accent. I try to speak correctly. I try to make sure my grammar is correct. I try to make sure that I speak in good pace where people will understand. I'm having to work in a place now where I have to speak to CEOs, I have to speak with stakeholders, I have to speak to people that I would not in the life of me think I would be in the same probably boardroom with them or having to speak to them. I have people saying, I would like to speak to Abby. I would like Abby to resolve my query because they know one of the things you do is listening skills. The ability to listen, the ability to be able to understand what your manager or your client is saying is very key. That's why I would say it's all settles within the communication skills, because for you to communicate effectively, you have to be able to listen. And this doesn't just have to be with a phone call. When you receive an email, ability to read and understand what the email is trying to say, because the person is not saying it physically, verbally to you. You have to read to understand what is this query about, or what is this person looking for, what is this manager, what do they want. So ability to answer concisely, on time, all these key things are very important. Replying to email on time, not waiting to after a week before you have the time to respond, keeps you in that place where stakeholders, clients wants to just relate with you. You're a truthful person. If you can't meet your deadlines, you have a way of communicating. As I said, all this is like the very basis of everything you have to build your skills on. And I think that was one of the key things they saw in me, is thinking, okay, you know what, this girl, she's got the transferable skills we're looking for. For her to thrive in HR, she's got the basics of everything. And that is what still keeps me thriving, because when we have a time when they have to listen to calls and they're like, we're listening, we are laughing to your call because you're engaging to the client like they're your friends. And I'm like, what, did you actually listen to my call? And like, yes, we did. I'm like, really? Because I'm there just chatting and trying to resolve queries. I'm making it personal. I'm listening to you. So I think one of the things I brushed up was trying to communicate effectively, managing my pace, managing how that I don't is grammar error free. Try to make sure that you read, learn, improve your vocabulary, improve how to just pass on the message. Make sure you're there to know that you're on time, you're truthful, you're someone they can rely on, you're someone they can put a burden on, and you run with it to say, how this is something I've never done before, but how do I get this resolved? And that is what HR is about. So many complaints. It cannot be around pay every issue. Everybody has their own issue. That's why it's not a textbook you say I want to study. Although we have this best practice we follow and things we follow to help you thrive in HR, but these basic skills are very, very, very important. That will give you the confidence that no matter where you are, CEO of whatever company, I'm ready to sit right in front of you. Let's have the conversation. Let's have a discussion. And they can see the confidence in you. They can see the boldness in you. And that's just a starting point for you to thrive in whatever role. And I would say not just for HR, for any other role any other person is looking to progress into. I would say that is the basics for them to be able to communicate whatever they have. Because if you can't communicate what you have, somebody else will probably take the job.
Absolutely. And I like that. Abby, I told you to mention the skills that you may require to break into that HR space if you're looking to break into it. When you shared effective communication, communication is about four things: your ability to listen very carefully, your ability to write in a concise and clear manner, your ability to engage people, and the tone and pace of your communication when you speak, right? I learned the magic of tone and pace from Ramidu Yile. She was a vice president of Bank of America at the time. She would talk about the pace and the tone of voice. Up to today, when I write emails or when I'm hiring someone, I'm reading through their email to understand their message. What's the tone like? Is it disrespectful? Is it urgent? Right? Is it complimentary? The tone, the pace is very important. I've been saying if you can master that, you can actually break into HR. Not only that, stakeholder management. Stakeholder management means that you're managing up and you're managing down. You're managing your peers, you're managing people who are in more junior positions, and you're managing up the CEOs, the C-suite executives, and you're managing them effectively. Then time management. You have to be able to do your time produce good quality deliverables, and you must be able to ensure that you are responding to queries on time. Not that you see an email, I respond to it in 5 years' time. That would not make you succeed. So, Abby, we've touched on some of these soft skills. They listen back to your telephone conversation, and they saw how good you were coming from customer service. So I would like to say no experience is a waste. If you think that your customer service, I don't also understand why people tend to look down on people in customer service. This is such an important career that you can use. Like Abby said, from the time I saw a CV, we dissected a CV. Every soft skill that you could ever use in any role, we were able to pull out from Abby's CV. We didn't go and buy any experience from anywhere. We didn't ask Evans to drop us experience and skills. They were all on Abby's CV, right? So Abby, tell me, what are some of the technical skills you need in human resources, that space? Data is very important, right? Microsoft Office is very important. The PowerPoint, the Excel, the Word, very important. What are some of the technical ability that you need to succeed in a junior role in human resources and as you progress on your career?
I'll also say thank you, MJ. Based on the technical skills, MJ has highlighted some of them, and I would say for myself, when I started, some of the things I needed to polish was, for example, my Excel. I was like a beginner, and for you to work as a recruiter in HR, it's database. It's something where you pull figures like day to day. You have to be able to collect your figures, collect your data, and it's just basically in some kind of data analysis kind of thing, because every day you're pulling figures, you're updating yourself. So one of the things I did was to go on YouTube. My husband was very good in it. I'm like, I need help with this. He was like, you don't have to fret, just go on YouTube, you'll see enough videos there. And then we also have this internal learning space where everyone had the opportunity to learn. I opted quickly to say, can I join on Excel, please? Because I knew I was just a beginner. I just knew how to input, little one there, little there. I wasn't really good. So I opted for that because that was very key for me to be able to, for example, pull figures of numbers of what we feel, time to offer, time to fill, and different kinds of data we had to fill, and we had to manage every day to day. So I would say Excel was one of the key things. Microsoft PowerPoint was also one of the key things I had to master. As I said, I was then put into a point where I had to present weekly to one of the stakeholders I was managing, where I had to present where we are, where we were, and what we're doing, and what we tend to do. And I needed to share my screen. I had to master all these where I was confident enough to share my screen, to explain myself. And I was told, go back there, go back when I actually wanted to explain this. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I had to own my thing. I had to understand my data. I had to understand all these basic things. Things like Power BI, so many skills, soft skills we also use within the office space in HR, where I had to learn daily. I had to go myself to learn all these technical skills, and I'll say it's really, really helped me. And as I said, being hungry, being driven will help you to be determined to improve and want to learn all this. And this has really helped me because in a space of time, I can be called anytime, and I'm happy to go on there. As I said, because I was working from home, I didn't have anybody to say, come and help me with this Excel sheet. I had to learn it. I had to go. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have an option. So I learned it. I went on YouTube, maximized all the opportunity of the learning and development we had at work, and then just didn't go for anything. Did time management, did Excel, all the technical skills I needed. I just wanted to avail myself that opportunity of making sure I was polished and not just rusty there, to be able to make sure that I was able to build my career and be able to be strong, to have the strong skills to thrive, being a recruiter and HR. So basically, it did help me.
Yeah, that's really good. You see, like Microsoft Office is very basic, but if you can learn Excel to a certain stage where you become so pro, you can do anything, especially in human resources. So whether you're looking to break into HR or you're looking to progress like Abby has done on her career so far, I would say master the soft skills, which we mentioned earlier on, and also the technical skills. Right. Abby, would you tell, how do you juggle it all? You're a mom, you're an amazing wife. How do you juggle it all? Starting your career in the middle of pandemic real, and then managing working from home to now transitioning into going into the office sometimes and do wifely duties and then do mommy duties. How do you manage everything, Abby?
I'll say I think HR helps, and one of the key things is still time management and prioritization. So one of the key things I do as having to see, you know what, I don't want anything to suffer. I'm a big fan of making sure you have a healthy marriage. I'm a big fan of making sure that we have time for our children. So it's like me in three person, like not like God, but trying to be everything. Like I want to make sure that I try and prioritize. One of the key things I would say in terms of household is bulk buying, bulk cooking, trying to plan ahead of the week. So I cook in bulk. I make sure that it's there, probably in the freezer and the fridge, so that during the week I don't have time to cook during the week. It's too busy for me to have to settle in for bulk cooking. So as much as possible, when I have the opportunity, I do the bulk cooking so that the kids we have. I do the bulk shopping so that we don't have to be going in and out of the shop. We don't have time for that. So we have all the snacks. We have itemized. Oh, what do we kids need? What snacks do they want? What do they need for school? What do we need for what groceries do we need? So try and shop, try and do some bulk and bulk cooking, and also for the kids because in between that they still need to do their homework. You need to be there for them, and also you don't want your work to suffer. You need to be there when you should be there. You need to deliver and make sure that you're productive at work. So one of the key things I say is time management, and also to make sure that I give myself some rest also because it's key for me to be able to smile and then give my best at work. I have to be okay at home. If not, I'll probably snap at someone that's not even their fault. And sometimes the kids also are demanding, they want mommy, they want, oh, mommy, dad, and this and things like that. So having to balance things, having to prioritize. Okay, I know when I finish work, this is what I should be doing, not doing what I should not be doing because it's to take my time. So I plan my day. I know when I finish, I work, I pick the kids, after school, what are you supposed to be doing? Have you done your reading? Have you done your homework? So making sure that you follow through your day schedule, have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you just find your day is gone. I keep telling somebody sometimes it seems like 24 hours is really not enough. So having to know that you have to plan for the day, plan for the next day. So get the kids ready before they go to school the next day. Make sure that all the things are done. If they need to iron, have their clothes ironed over the weekend, have it ironed. If you need to do all the sets ironing, don't do it like weekly. Make sure that their uniform is ironed. Make sure that the food is at home. All these little things take time. Imagine having to close at work and having to think about what you want to eat. All these things
Yes.
can take your time. And if you're not careful, by the time you look at the time, it's nearly 9 or 10 and you're exhausted. And so I would say manage my time. If I don't need to be on Facebook, I don't want to be there. If I don't want to be on Instagram, I don't want to be there. If I don't answer your call at that time, it's because I cannot answer your call at that time. I manage my time as much as possible. But at the end of the day, try to manage with regard to family time, your own personal time, where because you have to take care of yourself. As I said, you have to be good to be able to smile at others. If you're not healthy or good, you snap or get angry easily. So it's just time management, I would say, is the key thing for me. Planning my week ahead is very key. What I'll wear, where I'm going, what I need to do, my brain is working like 2%, so I know what I'm doing instantly.
That's really good because obviously, the home life is important. The professional life is very important as well. So, Abby, would you say that human resources is a rewarding career path? And what would you say to anyone who is looking to break into human resources at this stage? Is it too late for anyone to consider trying to switch into this career path?
I will start with the latter part. It's never too late. And for myself, one of the key drivers, I have passion for people. Even when I try to step into what MJ is doing in terms of coaching people, advising people, it's just what you have passion for without having to get paid. And like very soon, I think I have to reach out to MJ. I have to start getting paid for all these advices I'm giving free of charge and having to master it. But just to say that is the passion for people, is the passion of what you want from people. is the passion of what you want to launch into. And it's never too late, because HR is something that is evolving every day. You realize that it's about people. It's about people. It's not just about people, but it's about people. And if you have passion about making sure that there's growth, making sure that there's improvement in all sector, you see yourself thriving, and it's never too late to launch into it or to have a career, progression into it. Never, never too late. Once you have the passion, just go for it. And as I said, the little things you think are inconsiderable, you think, oh, I've just done this in this role, you would not imagine how much it will put you forward and do you good in progressing you in what you want to do. You'll be so much amazed about what you think is not nothing is just too little or insignificant, as I would say. Everything you do, every soft skill you acquire, even your technical skill, they're very key things you should hold on there to. Never dismiss anything, any knowledge you acquire, never dismiss it. They are very key things, as I would say.
That's really good, Abby. So tell me, as an HR professional, would you say that you need to have a human resources degree to break into HR if you have previous work experience? Or do you need to, again, on my channel, I shared a lot about, I think, 2 videos now on CIPD. Would you say that it's important for you to have CIPD before you break into HR?
So I also say as HR, CIPD is good, but you don't need it to break into HR. But it's very key. It gives you a higher pedestal. And as I say, for recruiters, they are eye lit when they see CIPD. Is like the key things when we do it in recruiting. As I have CIPD, and as I said, those are the key things, as recruiters, and when we're looking for people, we have the search engines what we try to search. And I would say, if you have the means, try and get it. It's very key. It also gives you so much informed knowledge about HR, and you'll be well rounded, well informed. And it also gives you the opportunity to be a member of a body, just like an accountant. You probably like an ACCA, something like that. For every other role or every other profession, they have this basic body they have. So CIPD is one of the ones for HR. But as it were, it's not the basics for you to be in HR. As I said, you can also still transition into things like being a recruiter, things like being just trying to find your step into progressing into HR. But if you have the means, you can have it as a key thing, or say that my goal is to try and have a CIPD to further improve myself and further give myself chances. It's just like when you have a car and you have a BMW, or you have a sport car, and something can take you farther. Why will I want to go? Why will I want to take a plane when I know that the car is going to take me longer than take a flight? I'd rather go for the flight. It's just something that gives you more a higher chance to improve and to go on the ladder. So CIPD is not basics for you to be given a role, but it gives you chance. I have a role now I'm trying to recruit for, and the manager is saying, Abby, I want CIPD, but it's not like the key thing. But I know that when I'm looking for this person, I have to look for CIPD as an additional. It gives this person an advantage over the person that has not got the CIPD. But if you have the means, I would encourage for people to have it as a goal while still progressing and trying to go on in the journey in HR.
That's really good. Abby, it's good that you shared that because I actually am of the same opinion. If you can do your CIPD, I've explained before the best CIPD for your level of career. If you're just starting out, CIPD level 3 is good. If you don't have any knowledge of human resources, if you're more advanced, consider the CIPD level 5. When you progress on your journey, I would recommend the CIPD level 7 and then become chartered as an HR professional. When I was breaking into HR myself, the fact that I could talk about my CIPD helped me to get ahead. And, Abby as well, she was doing this program, she was a member of CIPD. She was able to talk about it in her interviews, and she got that break she was looking for. So if you can, please consider CIPD. It's not cheap. I think at the time I paid my level 5 at the time I paid £3,000 for it, and I did it in with a company in the UK who was offering CIPD. Even though I lived in the Republic of Ireland, the option is there for you to learn virtually, do all this assessment. Is going to help you even gain some insights into what HR is, and you can talk better in your interview. So thanks for sharing that, Abby. Abby, I want to give you your Sunday back, but I want to ask you this question. Is human resources a rewarding career path at all? What would you say if someone were to ask you?
I would say yes, it is very, very a rewarding career path, especially if it's something that you have passion for. If it's not something that you want to do, you might find it tricky. And for myself, there are different levels, and as Amadio will understand, there are different levels into growing in HR, HR generalist, HR partner, and so on and on. When you understand the pattern into growing into HR. And when you have passion for HR, you understand the journey path and what you're doing. We have different sections into HR. We have employees, relations, we have the pay and reward, we have the recruitment part. So I would say for you, you can decide which you would like to, specialize into, so that you're not bored. If you know what you really enjoy in HR, and that would help you. Maybe you're trying to be in the side of the compliance time, onboarding, and things like that. There is so huge, and it's very admin based. And this was one of the key things I remember MJ telling me when I was looking to go into to transition into recruitment and HR. And she said, Abby, if you're not hands on, you find out that things are just all over the place, and you're like, where do I start from? So it's very rewarding. um at the initial part, you might not get the pay you really really want, but as you progress, and you can go on the civil service job, go on the side, you see that it's rewarding as you grow in the path of the journey, in the part of the career. You will see that you get more pay when you improve and when you strive. So one of the key things I've said to myself is, don't stay in the same place you are. Forge forward, see how you can improve, get the skills you can get at that stage, and move. As Andrew usually say, try to improve your CV as much as possible. Don't settle for less. Don't let complacency set in. Don't say, oh, I'm comfortable here and that's it, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. As much as possible, have the hunger, because it's very rewarding when you push yourself and move on to the next stage. Just like every career, move on to the next stage. There's something in there for you. And if you're determined to just go in that same line in HR, is very rewarding.
Absolutely. I like the sound of that. And just so you're aware, HR professionals do make six figures as well. So if this is a path you're looking at or considering, be sure that it's possible for you to earn a very solid living. You must pay the price, like Abby shared. Put your head down and keep learning and growing. This was exactly what I did on my career. And one of the things I like to do also on my journey is to tell my story very truthfully. When I started out, I wasn't making so much money, but I got the break. I've moved from one organization to another. Each time I move, I'm moving with a bigger paycheck, right? So, like Abby said, don't stay in one spot. Keep seeking those opportunities, keep learning and growing. Know the things you need to know. And this is where you get the rewards that you're really looking at. Yeah? We are really looking for. So, Abby, can I ask you now, what is next for you as a career professional in this amazing human resources senior space in the public sector? What is next for you, Abby, on your journey as an HR professional who came from a customer service background?
So for myself, what is next for me is looking to go into um, something into HR managerial role. I've had the chance of overseeing other people that work under me, that I've been able to support and having to manage and then watch over what they do, and they have the report. But my next goal is to see how can I break into this managerial role, into this more senior role, where I can learn. So as much as possible, trying to acquire all the skills, trying to acquire all the leadership skills I can learn. I've been following people, I've been learning. seeing, shadowing my managers, seeing how they do things, so that I can progress in my journey also, so I can progress in my career into HR and into HR partner. So as I said, it's every day I'm learning and seeing what else. And also my CIPD, I'm trying to see how I can also go on to the next stage. Just basically just try to apply all the skills and knowledge I need for the next step.
Absolutely. Abby, you're doing all the right things. When I was ready for leadership, off I went into leadership program in Harvard Business School online. I completed that, went on the next stage of my CIPD, and that was how I found the break. Increased my earnings significantly, and you're on the right path. We're going to pick this off the call today. But
Sure.
Abby, one thing I also want you to share with anyone. So if you are doing an area of HR, like I always say, I've been very lucky on my HR journey. I've done recruitment, I've done core HR. Recently, I ventured into diversity and inclusion, which is very close to human resources. I've done employee engagement, I've done employee experience, I've done all of these things. So, what would you tell someone who is doing a function of HR? Yeah. And let me just share, I've done payroll as well, which I didn't employ as much, I enjoy as much. What would you say to someone who is doing an aspect of HR and they don't like it as much? What would you say to them? What can they do?
One of the key things you can do is in your organization, always put your ears on the ground. And how can you do that? Always look into your internal vacancies. They are the key place you can always check with your managers, check with other departments that you might be interested in and see what offers they've got. That will significantly help you to know what roles they do. I do it sometimes just out of fun. I'll just check other departments, what options do they have there, what roles do they have there, and then I read the job description, I see, is this something I will be happy doing? Is it pay? Is something, are you happy with figures? Are you good? Just check your strengths basically, because for pay and reward, you have to be heads on ground, HMRC, pay, tax, you have to be hands on ground on some basic key things that you have to understand to go into pay and reward. I deal with it sometimes, but not into key nitty-gritty, but I have the basic understanding of what happens there. But I, for myself, I'm more into the recruiting aspect. So you have to enjoy. Um, Candidates, your recruiting can be a burden sometimes. You have to have passion for people. As I said, you have to be their friend. You have to have someone that has enjoyed customer service to be able to enjoy recruiting. It's like something that I enjoy. It's like my fun based kind of thing. Speaking to people, like they want the job right now. They have not done their CV correctly, so you have to be able to have that patience to talk people through whatever is happening. Some people follow me on LinkedIn, jump in to say, Abby, I want this one. I'm like, go through the right part. I understand what you're doing. So different things. So if you don't like what you're doing, as I said, go to the internal vacancy for your company, try and explore what will fit your own HR role. So you can go into HR assistance, you can go into recruitment, you can go into pay and reward, you can diversify and just explore, or maybe secondment. If you don't want to launch out entirely, you can try secondment. I tried secondment before, where I try and see what's going on in the other department for sometimes 3 6 months, see how it is, gain your experience. It even helps you with your CV. And if you think it's something you might not be interested in, you can go back to your role. But at least at that stage, you've tried to see what is in there. You've tried to have a peek into what they do. You've tried to have a day to day into their daily activities, and that helps you to make your informed decision into, do I think I would enjoy this? So I would say try other companies, but start with your own organization. Try the internal vacancies. You can never know. You might see something else that will still help you and still help you to count your years there, and then you can still achieve the benefits you might eventually still need with your years of experience working with them. So I would say explore, look inward, speak to managers, speak to other departments. You might have friends, go on teams, try to make relationship be very accessible. Don't be too into yourself. Ask questions is very key, and it helps people to be able to relate with you. I have people from employee services reach out to me, Abby, I need your time. Can you give me 10 minutes at a time? Can you give me 30 minutes? I'm like looking at my time. I've got my day loaded, but I still try to, create time. So what do you want to do? We have a chat. I try to help them. I help them with knowledge they want from me. Oh, Abby, you're so great. Thank you so much. And that helps me. If I want to go to that department, I have friends there because I've been able to share my time. I've been able to support them with whatever queries they want me to help them with. So Don't be too rigid. Try to make sure that your hands on ground, you put your ears on the ground, try and explore within the company. And also you can launch out to outside the organization, which is very key.
That's really good, Abby. You're saying to just build your network. Because,
Definitely.
there's this popular saying, your network is your net worth. So
Sure.
build your network internally, externally. This is one of the things I teach also to people. Tell your story, build your network, and be sure about what you want. Abby, last but not the least, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking, okay, now I need to break into HR. This opportunity is not available to me. What do I do? What advice would you give to them?
I'll say first, do your own digging into the organization and then start with your CV. That is very key because your CV is the first thing the recruiter or whoever is sitting in that organization is looking at. They don't know you, they don't know who is this person, who is this Abby. The first key thing you can sell is your CV. And if you look inward and look at where you are, you have to then start building the skills. It can just be you just doing to go to online and start doing some courses, doing some communication skills courses, doing some things that you can add on to your own CV. That is very key because once you have the right CV, you
Mm,
are at the front line of the recruiter. Then they can want to say, "Oh, who is this person?" Because you've got the right information they're looking for, you've got the right skill set they're looking for, which is very key. If you don't, for example, if you've done some odd jobs and you don't have any admin skills, so just like basic admin skills, I tell people there's not even anything to show that you've done anything admin and you want to go for admin role. How would I put you forward to this for this role? How did you defend yourself that you have the skills when it's not even evident in your CV that you've done it? So I would say it's polishing your CV. If you want to do so, like someone like me, you can reach out to a coach, reach out to MJ. I'm not MJ didn't advise me to advertise for. I'm just saying this is my own story. This is me personally. This is what I did. Reach out to someone. It might not be MJ, but anyone you think you're comfortable with. Maybe someone, a senior colleague, maybe your elder brother or sister that think they're in the good role that you think they might help you with the CV. Whoever you think you're comfortable with that can help you kickstart. As I said, do the right courses, acquire the right skills, start building your CV. That would help you to even start from um the first stage of
assistant
your career
level.
at the
But
assistant level. So don't be shy to start in the very low level. And it helps you. If you want to be a manager, how do you tell the story if you have not been there before? If you
exactly,
don't understand what your other people have gone through, how will you be able to carry them on your shoulders? Well, because you've done the
exactly.
nitty gritty, you can boldly say, I've done this, I've done that. I know what you're feeling, I know what you're going through. And that is why it's really good to start from the very start. It helps you
Absolutely.
to build on that foundation because you just excel because you can see from what they're saying, you understand their story, you understand what they're going through. And it just gives you this experience and you can't take it from anybody can take it from you because you've got it in you there.
Yeah, that's really good. I like it. I like the sound of that. Don't be afraid to start from the very bottom. Starting from the very bottom is a good foundation to have because all the skills you gain there would help you really progress on your career journey very quickly. So, finally, what are recruiters looking for when they are hiring someone in a junior role in human resources? You mentioned one before. Your manager said, I'm looking for CIPD. This is just one of the many. What skills would recruiters be looking for generally when they are hiring for someone in junior level HR role?
So basically, one of the things that recruiters are looking for is someone that's got passion, someone that's got enthusiasm about the role. But one of the key things they're also looking for is someone that can communicate effectively. Because as I said, for HR, you have to be able to communicate with the candidate, the stakeholder, the client. So they're looking for someone that they can entrust their company to because you're the face of the company, you're the face of whatever thing you're doing there as the HR. As a recruiter, you are the face of the organization. You represent them. You carry their badge, carry their name. So they
Hmm.
want to be sure that if anything happens in your email, you can represent them. You can be sure they can go rest assured that Abby is going to deal with this. I'll be rest assured that we don't have anything that's been escalated. They want someone that can have the skill set They want someone that has got knowledge, even basic admin skills. As I said, even if you don't have customer service, basic admin skills could be great transferable skills. Don't underestimate it. You can just think, oh, I've just been admin, I've not really done anything customer service. Admin skills could be so much important that don't throw it away. Build on it, wrap it up. It's like a cake. Put all the icing you can put on it to sell yourself. And when you have the passion, they can see that yes, you have it driven in you. They know that when you get there, you can sponge information, you can sponge their policies to drive whatever they want you to do. You understand the policies, HR laws, employment law. You can go online, just try to avail yourself of all the information that can make you stand out and help you to transition into HR. As I said, once you're interested in it, go online, study, be informed, know about HR laws, know about HR employment laws. Try and see if you can register for CIPD, the first stage, the first level. What does it involve? How much will I need? What step do I need to take to go into this? So all of this will be combined in your CV, and the recruiter will see, I can see this person is really interested in this. For myself, I could tell my story from how I started to go into the school to study. They look like, yes, definitely, you really want this. Went into customer service and still coming back to say, I want this. That's why I wanted to study this. They know you have the passion. They can see the pattern to say this is what you're really interested in. So, as I said, it might not be customer service like myself and MJ. It might be admin. It might be even be something else from any other career path. But make sure that your CV, make sure that whatever skills you're acquiring is tailoring into this is what I want, this is my end goal, and that's why I've been having all this. So I tell people, I tell candidates, what are your transferable skills? What can I see that is making you come into this role? What do you want this for? Why do you want to come into this role? So I must see something that will make me know that when you get there, you get on ground working. You want to impress the manager. You can be sure that you have that passion that can impress the manager. So I would say, importantly, acquire all the skills, update your CVs, be passionate about what you want, and keep learning every day. I don't stop learning. I keep learning every day. I make myself humble, even when I'm sure when I get to whatever stage, I still want to come down and say, "Come here, I want to learn. Please teach me." And that is the goal. When you keep learning, you would always improve. When you keep acquiring skills, you will keep improving.
That's really good, Abby. I like the fact that you've shared about also the investment in self. A lot of people talk about what they want to achieve. The only challenge is they don't want to put their money where their mouth is. They want to be this, they want to be that, they want to attain certain level on their career journey, but they don't want to put their money on it. It's not cheap to transition, get a CIPD. I met someone very recently. They said, oh, I actually was working in admin. I wanted to do HR, but they were asking for CIPD. The only challenge is I didn't want to pay for CIPD, but they went on luxury cruise, luxury holidays, but they're still back to the same spot. So it's important to put your money where your mouth is. I always say that invest in your own growth, invest in mentorship, coaching, relationship building, acquiring solid skills, soft skills, and hard skills that you can easily transfer. Like Abby said, customer service experience is vital in helping her to get that break she was looking for. The admin skill, even our skills and experience from Nigeria. I remember using these skills, pulling out the soft skills from there, and we listed those ones on your CV. And when you went into the marketplace, you were able to tell your story very effectively. We worked on the tone, the pace of your delivery, and everything just worked out perfectly for you. Abby, I'm going to give you your time back. At this moment, I want to say thank you so very much for joining me today on Intentionally with Mojisola Obazuaye. Your career is being an amazing one. Your journey is being a journey of resilience, adaptability, self-leadership, the vision and drive you have for your journey. You've demonstrated that and much more. Most importantly, even personally relating to me, you've demonstrated humility on an ongoing basis. And like Abby said, it's important to know that you don't have to form accents. All you need to do is to learn to communicate effectively We have people from other races who work in different spaces. If you see an Indian, for example, they talk the way they normally talk. You don't need accent to break into any area of HR or any other career path. As far as I'm aware, I know I speak very confidently, but I've never worried about my accent, even though I now work in senior roles and work with very C-suite executives. They want to hear you communicate effectively, whether you're writing to them or you're speaking to them or you're even listening to them to respond. Learn those soft skills, they will help you on your career. Abby, I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. I'm really excited about your next steps, and I will continue to share my next steps as well. Again, thanks to everyone watching today. Thank you so much for joining us. It means so very much to me. If you've missed any part of this, Abby shared a lot of nuggets. You know, she's a gentle giant. She knows what she's doing. She's thriving. She's winning. She's killing it in the marketplace. Please watch over the video from start to finish. Until next time, I want to say thank you so much again, Abby, for joining
Thank you
me.
very much.
And thanks to everyone for watching today. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Abby. Bye.
Bye,
See you.
everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
MJ.
Thank you.